Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with some more branded Dracotail. So, I'm kind of in a quest right now to figure out, like, if there even is a best Dracotail variant. Because I'm seeing a lot more branded than Magistus out there. But to be fair, a lot of that data is coming from TCG side. So I don't know if it's maybe it's players not quite used to playing with Magistus yet. But rather than start with Magistus and work backwards, I decided let's begin with branded Dracotail and see just how good the lines are, how important the extra deck options are. Really, if you think about the combo lines, and especially the main deck engine, branded Dracotail only adds 3 main deck cards, right? I mean, you could play Cartesias, but I actually took those out because I find them to be very unnecessary. But really in the main deck, it's just Albaz and the 2 branded fusion, right? But in the extra deck, you have the option to not only go into something like Mirror Jade, but even Albion Sanctifier, summoning Spirit with Eyes of Blue to your opponent's field, which will lock them into only being able to summon dragons. Gotta love Sanctifier, right? But I'll say, spoiler alert, I didn't really find myself doing the Sanctifier lock. Not even out of principle, just didn't really come up for me. I think I still need to do some in-depth testing with Magistus Dracotail to see how much the extra negates from stuff like Zorora and Borload add over the options for branded. But I kind of suspect that branded and Magistus Dracotail are actually about equal power level, because the additional engine options in the grand scheme of things really don't matter. It really is just Dracotail being such a good deck. I mean, you saw my opponent in this mirror match here just straight up playing during my turn like it was nothing. Negating their own Ketu to stop me from drawing was a really interesting play, but I do have Maxi in hand. They have an Ash Blossom for it. But we also have more options here. I'm going to chain Horn to bounce their Arthelion, forcing them to fuse with 2 monsters in hand. Or if they have 1 monster and 1 spell trap, then they can't. I was really hoping for that to be the case, but they have Find Mana plus Maxi, so they can still make another Arthelion. Okay, Arthelion's going to activate targeting Find Mana and Maxi. Find Mana is going to activate as well. I'm going to chain Sting, and I'm going to banish Find Mana. I'm going to let them add the Maxi back to hand, because I just drew the Crossout Designator. So I don't really care if they have Maxi. I know I can counter that. And now, off of this draw, I found a Rahu Dracotail, so I know I have plays for the follow-up turn. They're going to set their own copy of Horn face down. So basically, I know going into my turn, I only have to really deal with the Horn. Arthelion doesn't do anything by itself on board. Maxi is going to get countered by Crossout. So if I can just deal with 1 bounce, which is very easy, then I should be in the clear. I think this is a lot of the reason why people like Dracotail mirror matches so much. There seems to be a lot of praise for Dracotail being so good right now. It's because there's a lot of interactivity, and even the person who might seem to initially have the advantage, that might not pan out that way. At the end of my turn 1, I had 3 face down spell trap cards but no monsters. My opponent had Arthelion and their whole setup face down. Yet, in the end, I'm the one who was able to turn the tables and get the advantage back. I'm summoning my Arthelion in attack mode on purpose here to try to get them to use their Horn earlier, which they did end up doing. Now I can set Ketu Dracotail as well as adding Lucius to my hand and Find Mana. I have not only my normal summon but the Ketu here as well, which will let me add Pan and then a Fusion Summon. Going to make a Secretarian Dragon here. Now I can use Lucius to set, Pan to set, and pop their Arthelion. I still have a Find Mana, and Secretarian Dragon can also summon one of my monsters back. Of course, it'll also act as a negate for their monster effects going into their next turn. So yeah, I think that mirror match there was a pretty good example of just why not only people like Dracotail, but also why the matchups are so interesting, which of course is why people like it. Let's take a look at our next duel. Alright, so this will be a going second game against Lunalight, the old favorite fusion deck that nobody wants to play with anymore. Well, I did have some follow-up games with Lunalight, but you'll see those, or you might have already seen those. I don't know when this video is coming out relative to this one. Anyway, going second, as mentioned, they're going to Tenki for Silverhound, which I thought was kind of wild, but they have a heavy polymerization. It's going to be Black Sheep, Silverhound, and Goldleo fusing into the Saber Dancer. Silverhound, Black Sheep both activate here. Black Sheep is going to add back the Goldleo. And Silverhound is going to summon Kaleidochick. Kaleidochick I'm going to let resolve, but the Goldleo I'm going to Valor, because I know at this point they only have one card in hand, unless it is Polymerization. They probably don't really have plays left, and even if they did have Poly, it'd have to be for Perfume Dance. Okay, so going into my turn here, I'm going to start with Ketu Dracotail. I actually probably should have led with Rahu now that I'm thinking about it, because I never... It's not that I forget the Ketu fusion effect, I just don't value it as highly. But going second, I think Ketu really... I mean, it's kind of hand dependent too, whether Ketu or Rahu is the stronger spell card going second. But we can make Arthelion, add back Lucius, fuse with the Phyrexil in hand, use Phyrexil and Lucius effects to set. Gonna set Flame and Horn because I've already activated Ketu and Rahu. Now I can normal summon Lucius. Lucius effect in order to add 5 mana. And then Battle Phase, I misplayed by not battling against Goldleo first. Now they can add back their Kaleidochick. Definitely should have thought about that. I only thought about it, you know, the Goldleo second effect is being used for, like, fusion material. But of course it is no matter how it's in the graveyard, so misplay on my part. But when they normal summon Kaleidochick, I can use Horn and bounce it back. And they don't even get a chance to activate the effect here. Battle Phase, they're going to run over my Arthelion. I don't care at all about that. They go Polymerization, main phase 2. We have the Dracotail Flame to negate it. And I think this is really important. We're going to be using our Dracotail trap cards to recycle each other throughout this duel. I see a lot of Dracotail players that I'm playing against and in duel lives activating the trap cards while they have other trap cards in their graveyard, and they're not recycling them back into the deck, which I really think you should be doing most of the time. Didn't need to use Ash Blossom as a material from hand here. I thought maybe I could hand sculpt a little bit, but turns out I actually do just want the Ash Blossom, so kind of just show them I have it for no reason, but that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? I can set Rahu, I can summon my other Arthelion, I can add back Ash Blossom and Lucius, and here's the thing that I'm gonna fail to notice on my opponent's turn. We're gonna go for the Lucius. Lucius F, add 5 mana. Going for the Rahu Dracotail, I'm gonna use that in order to fuse Orgola from deck and 5 mana in hand in order to fusion summon the Golemel. What I failed to notice is that Saber Dancer cannot be targeted by card effects. So my plan to pop it with Golemel was, shall we say, misguided. What I should have done is look for a non-targeting way to out it. Spheres is one, but that's a link summon. We're fusion locked. Mirror Jade would be nice. We don't really have access to branded fusion though. And the other option, which I really should have taken, is actually not in the extra deck, but in my main deck. It's going to be Malulu. Malulu's negate effect, when it sets, actually doesn't target. So I could have used Malulu to negate Saber Dancer and then popped it with Golemel, which, spoiler alert, I'm going to realize here in a moment. But I do also get to use Sting to banish Polymerization out of the graveyard, which did feel really good. I won't lie. But then I got Malulu, and that's when I was like, oh, duh. Yeah, Malulu negates Saber Dancer. And then Golemel can pop, and that's an easy lethal. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to see why Lunalight kind of fell out of favor in paper play, and the same is honestly going to happen here in Master Duel. Another kind of underlying reason is Retaliating Sea, which is a tech that is being employed already in mass to counter Dracotail. And Lunalight, also being a fusion deck, very much summoning from spell cards, is going to catch those strays of Retaliating Sea being used in so many decks. Sort of like when Malice was really popular and people were on Lancias, but then Crystron was also really suffering because of that as well. Anyway, my opponent finally concedes here. As I have a million cards on field in hand. I mean, it's Dracotail. What else is new? Anyway, let's check out the next duel. Alright, this game is going to be against Fiendsmith Scareclaw. Scareclaw. You know, every time I run into this deck on ladder, which is more often than one would probably expect, I think about like, oh, I should pick this deck back up. But as much as I like Scareclaw from a playstyle perspective and from like a, you know, aesthetic perspective, I think it's really cool. It's just like, it's so weak. Can I really justify playing it? That's what I think, and I don't know. Maybe I should give it another try. Power level shouldn't be the only reason to play a deck, right? If you like it, you should give it a try. But anyway, here I'm going to throw out a Droll Mockbird, and as a result, I really don't care about their Maxi even a little. This is why I think it's still good to play Droll Mockbird, even though it's not really that useful in the mirror match. Is that one, it's still really good against, you know, pretty much everything that's not the mirror match, or not everything, but a lot of things. Most things that aren't the mirror match. Two, it can also be used to counter Maxi and Fulos, and because you as the Dracotail deck don't care about Droll Mockbird, you can just use it as an anti-Maxi card, which is really nice. Yeah, I get to set all three of my trap cards here, and I haven't used my Branded Fusion yet, so I don't know. I think this hand, I could have set up the Sanctifier lock if I played a little bit differently, but I wasn't really thinking about it until the end, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll just add a Mirror Jade to my end board. See, this is kind of going back to my theory I was talking about towards the top of the video, where I'm like, okay, which is better? Branded Dracotail or Magistus Dracotail? Which engine adds more oomph, more power, you know? And I kind of feel like at the end of the day, like I said before, it just doesn't matter because Dracotail itself is so good that I really don't even think a pure Dracotail deck or the build playing like King of the Swamp, I don't think that is even that much worse than Branded or Magistus. Okay, so they're going to start with Fiendsmith stuff here. I'm going to let them do their thing for a little bit. We don't need to change just yet. I was going to try to use like maybe the bounce, the horn on the sequence, but then I realized I could use the sting on the engraver, also banish the tract, and then Golemel pop Lacrima to far more thoroughly route out their Fiendsmith engine here. Alright, they're going to follow up with the field spell, and honestly, I didn't even need to use another card. I didn't even need to activate anything else at this point. They already knew how futile it was. Yeah, no need to use Flame against the field spell. We can just save it for the normal spell card that revives. Oh, I already forgot the name. That's so sad. I used to know Scareclaw so well. But yeah, so, I mean, the Mirror Jade didn't really come up here. And again, I could have gone for Albion Sanctifier lock if I'd played differently, I think, with that hand. But at the same time, it's like, did I really need to? And again, that's kind of what I mean when I say maybe it doesn't matter what your other engine is. But anyway, let's check out the last game that I have lined up here. And it's going to be a going first game against Argostars, of all things. This play session, I just ran into a lot of rogue decks. I don't know. Alright, hand's looking good. Admittedly, I should have led with Ketu Dracotail here. Maybe instead of Branded Fusion. I don't know. I guess my thought process was I didn't really want to Ketu for either Malulu or Lucius and start up the combo line with them plus Fulos, because it's not quite as impactful. Plus, I can also use Ketu as an extender if I need to. Gonna go Frexel effect, set Raku. Normally you'd set Ketu, but here I'm just gonna activate it, add Lucius. Then, even if they had Droll, it doesn't matter, because I could still activate the face down Rahu, send the Lucius from hand, and then be all set. They're gonna chain Maxi, which I don't know why they didn't use that sooner. So I'm just gonna go into Secretarian Dragon here, set Flame, and then pass after setting Imperm. We've got Branded Fusion and Rahu for follow-up plays. I will need to hopefully have Secretary on the follow-up turn in order to be able to use Rahu for follow-up plays. They're going to Imperm the Secretarian, which I was kind of convinced meant I was in a mirror match at first. But then they went D-Fissure, Special Takutan Borg, and I was like, okay, definitely not. Invoker, it's a pretty easy Imperm target. But it actually kind of turned out that the Imperm was, or the Invoker rather, was bait. Because they just had the Glorious Aedra in hand. Maybe it would have been smarter in pretty much any scenario to let them summon off Invoker and just see what they go for first. But they're just going to summon a couple of Argostars trap cards, go into Typhon, Typhon bounce Secretariat before smacking me and then passing. So thankfully we have the Flame, and I can just use that on my turn to negate the Dimensional Fissure. And I get an extra draw out of it as well. Here we can lead with the normal summon Malulu, and that alone is enough to get them to concede. But I could have fused with that, negated the Typhon, not had to worry about that. I mean, I could have gone into any number of things. I still had Rahu face down as well. I think I could have still used Branded Fusion, because I could have... Oh, I could have used Arthelion to add Albaz back to hand and still use Branded Fusion. Yeah, potentially. Would have been a way to do it there. But anyway, there's the duels. Let me show you my build here. So pretty much still on the same build of Branded Dracotail I was before. I cut out the Cartesias because in my previous playtesting they didn't really come up. So I was at 41, -2 Cartesia put me to 39. I just slotted in Imperm as a cross-out designator target, but extra deck is still the same. The rest of the main deck is still the same. And overall, it is a very standard build of Branded Dracotail. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to note the extra deck options that it adds. Most notably, of course, going to be Mirror Jade and the Albion Sanctifier. Although, again, for me, even this card didn't really end up coming up that much. It's really just the Dracotail stuff that's going to do the heavy lifting 95% of the time. So, in that regards, when it comes down to what is the best way to play Dracotail, I think it almost doesn't matter because Dracotail is that good. I think Branded and Magistus Dracotail are probably about equal power level, with Pure maybe being a little bit behind, only because it doesn't have those extra options sometimes. The, like, 5 to 10% of games it actually matters, but I think, again, for the vast majority of the time, Dracotail alone will hard carry you. But I do plan on doing some more extended playtesting with the Magistus variant as well, to kind of get this down a little bit more firmly. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Either way, thank you so very much for watching, and let's go ahead and move on to our outro so we can thank YouTube members and patrons. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.